mom and dad. Your mom and dad. Your mom and dad. Your mom and dad.
Well, welcome home, family. It's your mom and dad. I feel like you have started to get slower and slower during the your mom and dad part. It used to be, welcome home, family. It's your mom and dad. And you're starting to go, your mom
I don't know why.
and
I think it's
dad.
the contrarian in me. It's just like, we've been doing it one way too long. I need to mess with it for no reason.
So you're fighting against the process?
Guess so it's bad. You know, you guys, I'm a little insecure today.
Why? I was wondering because your energy seems a little, what's going on?
Well, I'm a little insecure because I have a really big head, like an abnormally large head.
You're like an actor.
No. But
the actors have, I think they typically have like a larger head.
And I really like this hat.
Yeah.
But if you look, I'm looking at you right in the camera now. If you look at me, the hat is just a little too small. And it makes me look like I'm a baseball player from like the 20s. You know when they had like little hats in the brim and it kind of like, it really does look like I'm on the Yankees from like 1926. No, it just doesn't quite fit right.
I think it looks great on you.
I appreciate it. But like even the way this doesn't bend right, like when I look at it from this angle, I just go 1920s, like Babe Ruth or something. It makes me just look, and that's always my problem. My head is so big. You guys, I want to wear the cool hat so bad. I have a bucket hat that I refuse to admit looks kind of ridiculous on me.
Well,
admit it. When I rock that bucket hat, and like I've been kind of bold too. Like I've rocked it in like public settings, and I've seen people look at me and go like, "Hey, dude," and they kind of look at me just like, "Do you understand how insane that looks?" And the bucket hat looks like. I don't know. What would you? No. I don't want you talking. I want you to admit how it just when someone has a really big head and they put a bucket hat on. Bucket hats are meant for small heads.
I think maybe
they're meant for small heads because it's gotta sit right. The brim has to sit like where the night area. But when you have a huge head, the bucket hat looks like almost like a coaster or something. Like it's kind of just sitting on top, and it just looks like he doesn't understand. Like he's ignorant to how ridiculous this looks.
You know what? That's screwed up. They need to make big-headed bucket hats.
That's
like, why don't they have a big-headed bucket hat out here?
Because I think just generally it's for small heads and it just looks cool.
Even myself, I don't know if I think I have a pretty like standard size head, but a bucket hat can get tight on me.
But you'll rock like a hat and it just fit. It looks so good. It's like because hats are designed for normal people, not for the outliers, the super heads. I'm a super head, dude. It's crazy. It's so frustrating. Every hat I wear, like even this one, it's like the buckles on the back. You know how there's like, let's say 10 of them? I'm always on like one. And what that does is it makes the hat do this weird like flat thing. So if I ever see a picture of myself like from the side, it looks insane. Like hats, it's just the reality, you guys.
I feel like you have a hard time too with sunglasses.
Sunglasses look insane on me.
Because of the big head. So a lot of times the sunglasses are...
All the cool ones I really like look like children's sunglasses. Like it's always too big. And the issue is this. We're getting into it. Here's the other issue is that sunglasses there's two types of sunglasses generally, right?
Right.
There's kind of small frame.
At least now, like kind of like what's popular is a small frame or like a really oversized.
Or oversized.
Yeah.
So small looks like I'm a German doctor and it's like this big, right? So either they look insane like this, just like Harry Potter, or the oversized aren't that oversized, but they're just like medium large. So they just look buggy and weird. Like they look like, man, those should look cool. Why do they look a little funny on you? So finding sunglasses for me is super hard.
Yeah.
Super hard because it's like I got to find sunglasses that look like medium to large on everyone else, but look normal on me.
I will tell you, family, trying to sunglass shop with Evan is a lengthy process, but I think...
I try on 500 and then ditch a store.
But I think more than anything, like you said, you feel insecure about it. I think it looks good on you. I think you're just stuck in your big head.
That was so dumb. I wish big head meant big brain. Because I think what I got is normal to small brain, large head, and then it's kind of just like bouncing around in there. You know what I mean? And again, big head usually means cool. Like you have a big face, head, it all kind of works together. I have normal face, big head. I don't know. It's just not happening. It's just not the vibe right now.
I think you look very handsome today.
Wow, thanks. Yeah, I just think it's not happening. I think the older I get, you know how they say like your ears and your nose never start growing? I think it's like the top of my head is not stopping to grow as well.
What was that?
It's top of head not stop to grow. So guys, I'm doing very well. So everything's fine. I'm not having a little bit of a crisis about how old I'm getting and how things are not turning out the way I thought they would physically. I've been catching myself in the mirror, like walking by being like, what is that? I saw a picture of myself the other day from like 5 years ago and I'm like, dude, what happened?
Yeah, you know what? I will say, well, first of all, you're always gorge. You're like a fine wine. You get better with age. You're like a cheese.
That's a fake compliment.
You get better
that's
with
like you have a great
mold.
personality compliment. You know what I mean? That's okay.
But we are at that age where when I'm starting to look at pictures from a few years ago.
You're seeing death like stare you down. You're seeing death welcome you. The Reaper is beckoning.
When I look at pictures from a few years ago, I'm genuinely like, oh no, like I the age has hit. But you know what? Today we're talking Golden Bachelorette finale. And what these Goldens have showed us is that we need to embrace this. This is a gift. It really is a gift. It is a gift to age and to grow old. And so you know what? I understand the feeling. I saw like an old photo of myself the other day and I was like, wow. But you know what? It's just embracing what this gift is. You know what I mean? And we're just in a new chapter where, you know,
and I'm just not having an embracey day.
Yeah,
you know
what? That's okay.
What it is.
It's okay to have sometimes days where you're not embracing.
Super embracey.
But remember what we really got at the end of this is that no matter what age you are, you got to risk it all for love.
Yeah.
So regardless of how you're feeling today, you need to risk everything for my love.
Yeah, I was like, okay, where is she going with this? Like, you mean I need to leave you and like go find some love? Like, what do you mean?
So you need to just put it all out there for me and just, you know, like be at my feet, risking it all for love. No matter how old we get, no matter how,
okay, got it.
No matter, you know, how long we've been together.
Right, you got to risk it all.
You got to risk it all for love. That's all I'm saying.
Beautiful. You're an author.
Well, I'm sorry that you feel this way, but
it's okay. We're having a head day. You know what I mean?
We're having a head day, but
we're having a head and bouncing around.
We had a successful finale, though, Evan.
We did.
So are you going to let that seep into your pores? That joy?
Let's not get on skin. You know what I mean? Well, now you're talking pores. Let's not even go there.
But you're gonna let that seep into you, the success?
Yes.
Because congratulations to our happy couple at the end of this. We had a successful CJ. We had a successful happy ending with Chock and Joan. And I mean, we really did see it from the beginning. Like from the get-go, it was obvious that this man was someone that she was very, very into. We'll talk about some Pascal factors as we have before, but these two seem like they're still together. They seem very much in love and they really fit together to me.
I completely
seeing them
agree.
now at the end of this, seeing them on stage together, especially seeing him a little nervous on stage and her kind of taking the lead and seeing like, oh, they feel like they have a good ebb and flow of like balance in their relationship. I feel
you know what? If anything, this is just a story about, you know, like where the guy's rolling the boulder up the hill or this, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Chock just never gave up. Chock never once let his insecurities about the fact that she didn't tell him, you know, she loved him. He just kept
He talked constantly,
going.
I think more than anyone we've ever heard about being aware that the other guys are here, but he didn't let it deter him. And I will say too, to his credit, you know, he kept saying, I love you, I love you, I love you, but he never gave her an ultimatum.
Nope.
We heard him in the ITM.
You could feel like he was he was feeling it.
It felt like he was struggling, not saying, hey, I'm out if you don't let me know where you're feeling. But to his credit, he never, ever gave her an ultimatum. He just put out his feelings. He risked it all for love. And in the end,
I feel like he almost cracked at the very end.
That's what I'm
because
saying.
In the very end, he was like, and I love you, and you're the person I want to marry.
And I love you.
And then he looks at her,
I love you.
And he's like, so So anyway, that's how I feel. Like you almost saw him about to go, what are we doing here? Are you going to help me? And then he's like, no, don't do it. You can almost tell that he has like a mantra, like don't succumb to the, she better respond to
the insecurity of it all. So shout out to him.
Shout out to Chock.
And in the
Pushed
end,
through and he got it.
He
got his lady.
He got his lady, you know? Okay, let's dive into this recap because I do have some thoughts that I feel like might be a little bit of a hot take. I had some feelings during this finale, fam. Yes, I had some feelings.
I did too. It was a mixed bag of feelings.
Agreed. So let's get into it. But first we got to take a quick pause. So again, congrats to Joan and Chock on their newfound family together, their newfound family. And speaking of found family, can I talk about our fur babies, Ashley and Arthur, for a second? Their family, our cuddly grump Ashley and our spunky, silly little Arthur. And as I'm sure most of you have heard, they are both rescue pups because some really amazing rescue organizations saved them from not good situations, and we were able to adopt them because of that. We're both really passionate about these rescues, fostering dogs, helping at local shelters. So let me tell you about Cuddly. Cuddly is a fundraising platform that supports animal welfare organizations all over the world. Over 4,000 shelters and rescues trust Cuddly to raise funds and receive donations of supplies for the animals in their care. So why donate to Cuddly besides the obvious? Well, Cuddly thoroughly vets and verifies every rescue organization they work with. So unlike with other fundraising platforms, you can be certain that your donation is actually going to an animal in need.
Yeah, in order to join Cuddly platform, an organization must be a 501c3 nonprofit in good standing. All donations made through Cuddly are tax deductible, and it is incredibly easy to access your donation receipt to file with your taxes. Your donation history is clearly visible in your donor account, and Cuddly even puts them all into a single document for you.
And listen, it can be so hard to choose just one animal to donate to, but Cuddly really helps with that because when you make a one-time donation, Cuddly distributes the contributions to the animals and organizations with the greatest needs each month. So now your dollar goes even further. For every $20 donated through a one-time donation, Cuddly will gift a soft and snuggly blanket to a rescue animal in need. Head to cuddly.com/momdad today to make a donation and help make a difference. That's cuddly.com/momdad. Family, this is an amazing organization. Please check them out. Again, that's cuddly.com/momdad. Okay, before we officially get into the recap, we have some business to talk about some upcoming episodes here, family. So, as you probably know, at the top of this coming year, 2025, we're going to be covering things like grand season of The Bachelor, Traitors. Yes, I think before Traitors starts, we need to do a cast bio episode of Traitors, by the way, where we go over all the cast and get to know them better and give our thoughts and takes. So that's going to be coming at the top of this next year. But in the meantime, we do have some weeks, some time where we want to hear from you, family. Please slide into our DMs and let us know. Are there any reality TV shows in the next couple weeks that you want us to cover, to look over? We're down to dive into some new things. Are there topics you want us to cover? What does the family want? We really want to hear from you. But in the meantime, we will have some episodes coming up like a D&D episode because we're due for that. And also we need to do a call home episode.
It's been a long time since we've done some call home.
It's been a long time since we talked to the family. And so please, family, use the link. It'll be in the episode notes to leave a voicemail on our call home hotline. You can be anonymous. You can say your name. You can talk about whatever. You can ask us any advice, any questions under the sun. Are you having some drama in your love life, friendships, all of this? Also, this may be my romantic fantasy book talking, but I kind of want to hear from the family about some scandalous stories. I kind of want to hear about your most hot hookup.
Oh, I like that.
If people are down, again, if you want to be anonymous, if you want to use some sort of your voice changer on your thing, I kind of want to hear about your craziest hookup situation, the most wild, exciting.
Tell us when you hooked up with the devil.
From my fantasy books. Tell me about when you went down to hell and hooked up with the devil.
Yeah.
Tell me about your shadow daddy
lake
hookups.
Of fire.
Tell me about that. But I kind of want to hear about it.
Send your hot and heavies.
I kind of want to hear some of those stories. I feel like that might be a fun call home. Again,
Let's get horned up together.
This might be selfish of me coming from all of my romantic fantasy books lately, but I need more.
Yes. Send in your hot and heavy.
I need more.
Love it. Yes. And I'll be doing a hockey episode as well. So like if you guys want to kind of get into my mindset about how I play hockey and kind of like generally like my goals, my position, my playing, whatever, we'll do some episodes, maybe 3 or 4 episodes on that as well. You can cut that if you want.
I might be on vacay during the hockey episodes, loving and supporting my spouse from afar, risking love through it all, risking it for love.
Joking, we won't do that. I promise. We won't do that.
I mean, unless the fam really wants to hear about it.
Watch, it just becomes the hockey podcast in the world. Nope. Sorry, pipe dreams.
Anywho, family. So that's for the upcoming week. So please slide into the DMs. Let us know what you want to hear from us over the next few weeks. Send in the call homes, all the things.
Yes,
maybe
please.
some guests you're interested in having us have on the podcast. Even maybe guests for a D&D episode. If you have any potential guest ideas for a D&D episode, always down for that.
Love it.
But okay, let's get into this Bachelorette, our first ever Golden Bachelorette finale.
Yes.
I would be remiss to not mention that at the very top of this episode, we see that a lot of the Goldens from the Golden Bachelorette and the Golden Bachelor are there, and sitting front row side by side are Jack and Susan. They have heard our cries, they have heard our prayers, and they sat the two of them together. And I'm just hoping, praying, believing in my soul that after this finale last night, that they went out and got a drink together and something's cooking in the kitchen, if you know what I mean.
Well, they're both cooking, right?
They're both cooking,
both kitchen people. I mean, what? There is a world where that happens.
That's what I'm saying.
And that would be an incredible world.
It would be
like two
it would
absolute
give me hope.
characters.
It would give me hope again. These two together. She's making her guacamole.
That's a reality TV show.
He's making his burgers. She's making the guac to put on top.
Perfect.
A nice guac burger. A nice delicious.
Start a podcast called It Wasn't the Guac.
It wasn't the guac.
Or It Wasn't the Meatballs. I guess that's what it was, or something. You know what I mean? I don't remember what. I think she made meatballs, right?
No, what was it?
I think she made meatballs, and they were like, it was the meatballs, and she's like, it's not my meatballs, right?
Oh yes, I think you're right.
It was the guac.
Or was it the guac? Now it's all getting.
I don't remember, but it wasn't is the name of their show.
But the point is that these two always have some food drama surrounding them, and they've got some big personalities. And as we know, Susan is an officiant, and I can only imagine. My dream would be, honestly, at this point, to have our vows renewed with Susan as an officiant and Jack. Can you imagine how good of an officiant Jack would be? He'd be like, you
freaking
look at
love.
these freaking love, man. Look at these two freaking love birds. Oh God, I remember the time when I was freaking in love. And
oh my gosh,
sometimes you fucking hate each other. What can I say?
Cheers. Unbelievable. But yes,
love
they're in the front.
Is like a bottle of Jack.
Love is like a Polish sausage. A little bit of mustard. You're just like, what are you talking about, Jack?
So that's my dream.
That would be awesome.
Thanks to The Bachelor for having them be sat together. But we start this finale off with Joan in her post Pascal era.
Yes.
Okay. She is not BC. She is not AD. She is PP, post Pascal era.
PP era.
The PP era. And she is
distraught.
Struggling.
Distraught.
When she's crying and she's saying that, it's not that he didn't love me, it's that I feel unlovable because of this. I feel like I was going in, she said, really strong, and I had my walls up, but him leaving in that way. And I all of a sudden thought, I'm like, you know what I think was the doozy for her when he said it, and it was all kind of flooding back, is I think the thing that really did her in with their sit down wasn't even that he chose to leave, or that he even said that he's known love, because that was rough when he was like, I've known love and this isn't it. I was like, Pascal, that's real intense. But I feel like in my bones, what really got to her is when he talked about the passion.
Yeah.
When he's like, I need passion and there's no passion here.
Because she felt passion.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's one thing to admit like we don't have the passion and we're buddies. It's another to be like, I'm completely like hot and heavy for this person and they feel none of it for them.
There's no passion.
That's the most pain.
And I think that, in my opinion, was like the thing that got in her brain that really started to have her feel insecure. But of course, I would also feel like wildly insecure if all of a sudden, like you said, I'm feeling over the moon, va-va-voom for someone. I'm like, damn, our chemistry is wild. And I think she even had mentioned in numerous ITMs where she's like, yeah, you know, there's something between Pascal and me. And from her perspective, she's like, oh, we've got this bad chem going on, you know, whatever. Yeah. And Pascal's like, just friends. And he doesn't feel that chemistry at all. It's got to mess with your mind big time. Well,
I was kind of sitting on, so she gets back into the room. She's like crying. And I'll be honest with you, like the most she's ever cried on the show.
Yes.
And let's also be honest, not the most outwardly emotional person. So like through this entire experience, we've kind of been like, we don't know how she feels about anything because like she's cutting people, not crying. She's having heart-to-hearts with people, not crying. Like we're kind of always like,
we've seen her maybe cry twice.
You know what I mean? Like whatever. This rocks her. The most she's been rocked. And I kind of was going back and forth because at first I felt, did she love him the most and that's why this hurt? Or was it just more of like the hottest, coolest guy didn't like me? You know what I mean? Like, is it like, I feel so unlovable? I think that's maybe her maybe struggling with the words on how to put the way she feels. Cause it's like, you have 30 guys that were obsessed with you. Yeah. And you didn't have one person that wasn't. Yeah, I think maybe it's not, one guy that wasn't into you. Maybe it's not lovable. She felt insecure. Is it like, is it these things?
Well, and of course, Pascal being like, I need to date a 30-year-old.
That's what I'm saying.
You know that was probably like, you could feel that energy.
I'm old for him.
Which, by the way, is insane because he's like 10 years older than her.
No, but I'm just saying, you could tell that she could tell.
Yeah.
That he generally dates very young women. Yes, that he's generally out there playing. Like
it was wafting off of him that he's aware, like, I date 25-year-olds.
She was aware that this was a stretch for him, and she could sense that. And so at the end, to be let go and say basically, "I don't love you," and we don't have heavy. I don't have any like sexual chemistry with you. Basically, was that kind of like you're basically confirming the narrative that you've been trying to push down for the last month.
I would agree. I think that maybe unlovable was not the correct, like, I shouldn't say correct terminology because I can't speak for her. Maybe that's how she was feeling. But I think more than anything, it was likely insecurity, but of course, like anybody would feel that way when you're into somebody and all of a sudden they're like, there's no passion and I don't feel the love with you. Like you're going to feel insecure. But I think he would be the one to make anyone insecure in this situation because he's also the only one who would never pursue her. She got on him about that. She's like, why aren't you coming up and telling me how you feel? But there had to be a thing in the back of her mind where when she would pursue him, it would probably keep fostering more insecurity. So she was probably already feeling insecure. And then he said no. And it just, it all came tumbling down.
Here's another angle.
Okay.
Another angle is that no one else really got her going. And Chock was the closest. Good guy, amazing guy, on paper perfect. But it's kind of heart versus head versus whatever. And and Pascal was the only one that like got her like flustered and excited and feeling like I'll make dumb decisions with, you know what I mean? Like, I don't care what it takes. I kind of just want to be with this guy because I feel alive again. And then that's the only one that doesn't like you.
Yeah.
I do wonder if there's a little bit like, maybe she's picky. Maybe she's got like a very specific type, a very specific thing she was going after. You know, she hasn't dated in 40 years, you know what I mean? Or whatever. So it's like, this is all new to her and she's just going off of instinct. And maybe the only one that kind of made her feel like something was the fun bad boy. You know what I mean? And maybe there's a little bit of like, and then he doesn't like me. So then maybe I just am like, maybe I just need to think with my head now and not with my heart as much and go with Chock.
I think Chock definitely got her going. But I think like what we've been saying over the past few weeks is that Pascal was like a fantasy.
It's the Pascal versus Chock
yes,
dilemma.
Pascal was like, this is going to be a new type of life.
Yes.
Like he's going to be, it's exciting. It's edgy.
exciting.
It's the bad boy. It's typical. It's written everywhere. It's the bad boy narrative. You're like, that part in your gut is like, ooh, I'm feeling it in my belly that I want to go with the bad boy.
Yes.
And when the bad boy rips away from you, it is insecurity devastating times 10, because there is that part in your brain where in the back of your head, it's like, this wasn't right. I shouldn't have been going for this person, but man, I felt it in my bones. And like to have the guy who's like the onion guy with all the layers choose me. There's a lot of that, but I was so happy for her that Nancy was there.
Yeah, I think
because
she helped
talk
a lot.
about like having a difference when you have a friend available to you in this circumstance, and you're not just sitting stewing in ITMs by yourself just with producers. Like you saw Nancy help change the narrative around for Joan and be there for her and kind of snap her back into it, being like, Joan, you're lovable. That's not true. You had an incredible marriage for 30 something years. And she goes, are you really going to let Pascal like do this to you? She's like, and then when she's like, well, I just don't know, like what if the other guys, she's like, Chock, his mom died and he came back within like 24 hours. You have men who love you here. And she was like that friend that we all need during those times where like we can't, our emotion is clouding, our insecurities are clouding ourselves, our feelings, all these things, where she kind of looked at her and was like, snap out of it. Like, who you are, that you have people here. Don't let Pascal do this number on you. He's done this number on a million people before. This is what he does. It's the same song and dance.
Yeah, and I did feel a little bit like I was seeing a 23-year-old Joan there.
I know. It made my heart hurt.
And I'm not trying to say this in a rude way or anything, but it just felt very young, the way that she was talking.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, you have 30 guys that want to marry you, and one of them says no.
Right.
It felt very like, one day I'm going to talk to Ember when she's like 15, and when there's a heartbreak and she's going to be like, I'll never find love again.
Yeah.
It felt a little bit like that,
but
where it was like,
this.
it makes sense because you haven't gone through this in 40 years.
Well,
or you know what I mean? Like there is a little bit of like,
think about this. She's been with someone and she said that was her first and only love.
So she's never experienced heartbreak.
So versions of
romantic.
This type of heartbreak,
like dating heartbreak.
Yeah,
like
or at least
this might be the first time.
It might be the first time, or maybe when she was super young. But it's been a very long time. Because I think about like if all of a sudden you and I were to end, right? I've been in a relationship with you for 20 something years at this point.
Practice.
I dated people during a break, but not a lot.
Right.
I am very inexperienced when it comes to relationships. So if all of a sudden I'd start dating tomorrow, oh my gosh, I'd probably be having all the time. I'd be having feelings like I would have in high school, probably, because I'm like, I haven't navigated a lot of these waters yet. And I'm sure she's feeling similarly. Yeah, and
then you'd never be able to date again because it would just be like, oh my God, Evan was the best ever, whatever. I like normal stuff. And but you know what? I have more thoughts too. I have a lot of thoughts.
Yeah, but you know what? I do think I was just so happy for Joan that Nancy was there to snap her out of it, because
she was very level-headed. She didn't come in and oh God.
No, she like grabbed her and she goes, no, we're not. She was like, she was also kind of firm with her. She's like, we're not doing this. Like, you know your worth, you're lovable. You've had love and you're going to have it again. And
she also said Pascal made the choice for you.
Yeah.
Which I thought was interesting. Like not the choice to choose Chock, but the choice that
he's not an option.
Should they work or not?
Yes.
He's off the table, so don't even go there anymore, which I thought was an interesting
And I have to say, I think having Nancy there is the reason that she ended up with Chock ultimately. Because I think this could have sent her to a place where she was like, because she was at that brink where it was like, I'm wrapping it.
It wasn't looking good.
No. And I think because Nancy was there, it was like, okay, I'm able to face the new day and then feel really clear when Chock, who has always felt like my front runner, tells me he loves me. Agreed. And I can like sit in that and let that soak over me.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But anywho, okay. Lots more to talk about. Got to take another quick pause though. Family, after the final rose, they go over a lot a lot of questions, but what I'd like to hear about is how the happy couple plan on going about their shared bathroom habits. You know, I mean, if I had a new partner, what they would immediately know about me if they went into my bathroom is that I am a hardcore fan of Tushy bidets. That's the bathroom habit they'd find out about involving me, is a hardcore fan of Tushy bidets. It is a must for me. And my current partner here, Evan, also loves the Tushy bidets.
Put me on ice. Got it. Kill. Well, yes. No matter how current or not current, we love Tushy bidets. And the Tushy bidet, it washes with a gentle, soothing stream of water every time you go. And right now, Tushy bidet is dropping deep discounts on bidet life essentials that'll transform your bathroom habits and that butt for life, baby, okay? Now's the time to back away from boring gifts and dirty habits to save on a luxury lifestyle upgrade you'll use every day. For a limited time, our listeners get 10% off your first bidet order with code MOMDAD at hellotushy.com. Yeah, honestly, our Tushy bidet is the absolute best. As soon as we got it a few years ago, I knew I would never go back. Never felt fresher or more clean in my entire life. I mean, washing with a precise stream of fresh water removes 99% of bacteria compared to wiping with toilet paper. And installation is simple. Took me about 10 minutes to complete. Literally anyone can do it. And the Tushy bidet easily attaches to your existing toilet without the need for additional plumbing or electricity. It's so easy. It is actually pretty incredible how easy it is. It like wowed me. By the way, people who have made the switch to Tushy use up to 80% less toilet paper. So no more clogged toilets. Save your money and your ass at the same time, people, okay? Game changer. I love it so much. And to be honest, this is also a great gift, not just for yourself, but also for the people you love in your life. Like something that they're going to use and love all the time. Every time they're on the pot, they'll think about you. It's great. You know, give the gift of practical luxury that benefits everyone in your household. For a limited time, our listeners get 10% off their first bidet order when you use code MOMDAD at checkout. That's 10% off your first bidet order at hellotushy.com with promo code MOMDAD. And please don't forget to give us a shout out while you're there and let them know that we sent you. Go to hellotushy.com. That's HELLOTUSHY, hellotushy.com for the best gift this holiday season. Okay, back to Batch. All right. Thank you. So they are officially in Bora Bora, and the men are going to be meeting Joan's family. Now, this is the first time that we meet Joan's family because she wasn't at the hometowns last time. And we meet two of her kids and their partners. And okay. All right. This might be an unpopular opinion, and I might get the tomatoes thrown at me for this, but I have some thoughts, family, okay? And those thoughts expanded after I read something, which I think I actually had seen before, but I didn't really let it sit in my mind. And after meeting the kids and then rehearing this, I feel as if I'm starting to understand more why Joan might have seemed reserved and a little trepidatious during this experience. Okay. Because like we've talked about, we're like, okay, she's harder to read. She doesn't seem like she's maybe opening up as much. The emotions aren't maybe quite as there. And I don't doubt that that's, partially part of her personality. Like my mom mentioned last episode, she's a Capricorn. She's maybe going to be a little more like private about her emotions. But I think kind of that like the holding back that we saw during the season, I felt as if hearing this helped me process this. So apparently, in an interview, Joan said that her kids were not stoked about her going on the show and then becoming the lead. And after she became the lead, she said her kids set some rules up. And she said something like, you'd think they'd be giving me like, relationship advice. She's like, but the rules they set up for me is no kissing on television and no fantasy suites. And so then all of a sudden, her whole like no fantasy suite, it's like how much of that was her and how much of that was her kids being like, no. And so
And again, here's the thing. Maybe she felt that way as well about the fantasy suite. Maybe she was like, I'm a private person. I don't want to do this. But she said in this interview, again, and I apologize if I'm misquoting it or I'm wrong, but I just kind of reread it an hour ago. And in this interview, she had said that those were the rules. And she also had mentioned in this interview, I'm so sorry, I don't know where this interview is from. I feel like a horrible journalist. I'm so sorry for not giving the credit. But in this interview, she said that every week, one of her daughters would call her and be like, this is how many guys you kissed this week. And so, okay. If you're...
Gosh, I already felt gross about the kids. Now
okay,
it's
let's not say gross.
I don't mean gross. I just felt weird.
Let's be gracious about the family.
Let me calm down a little bit.
But I because again, okay. Because the flip side is this. I have no idea what it's like to have lost a parent and the pain of that. And then seeing, my parent that's still with us, dating someone in general, bring them into the family, and then let alone dating on national television. So I can't imagine what that would feel like. I can guess that it would be very challenging, especially because of your love of your dad and having a ton of grief and emotions mixing with that. I would hope that I would just be, even though I'd be feeling these things, that I would just want what was best for my mom and be super happy for her or my dad or whoever it was. But when I thought about that, I'm like, how could she not be in this circumstance and feel tight and feel in her head and feel guilt? If when she was leaving, it was a little bit like, well, my family set these guidelines and said, don't kiss, no fantasy suites. If I was in Joan's situation, I'd be in my head and it would expedite my guilt. Like I'd be feeling very like, oh no, what if my family's going to feel disappointed in me? What if my kids are going to be hurt and affected by this? And we saw a moment where Joan was talking with her son and he said, Mom, we are very proud of you for doing this. And she goes, I didn't know that. And you saw her face because she was probably behind closed doors. She's like, I'm not getting the vibe that you guys are like proud of me and stoked. I'm getting the vibe. I'm
spacing. Were the kids at the finale? I don't remember seeing them.
Yeah, I remember the grandson Boomer was there, but I think the daughter.
No, that was all his kids.
No, that was her.
Oh,
grandson.
Okay.
But the daughter who had Boomer, I don't think was in Bora Bora.
And the son was there? I didn't see the son.
I don't know if I saw the son.
I saw his son.
Maybe we saw the son. I don't know. I don't want to say yes or no because I'm not 100%. I'm not 100% sure. But I know that her grandson was there for sure, and one of her daughters. But I don't think that daughter was there in Bora Bora with the grandbaby.
Right.
So I'm just saying now that I know that, and that really settled in, I'm like, dude.
No wonder why she was feeling weird. I wonder why she did it. Like,
well, probably because she wanted to.
No. I'm saying the weird thing is like, it's my thought is like, before she left the show for her kids, you know what I mean? And there was this like hardcore kind of like, I gotta go, my family's first always. Mm-hmm. And then her family being like so clearly like vehemently against it. It's interesting that she went through with it.
Well, I'm
not saying she should have or shouldn't. I'm more just like it just seems shocking to me that someone like that, her being the way she is, isn't just, she's not like, I'm doing my thing. She's kind of like always talks about how she's like, that's her zone.
It's probably because, as much as she's talked about in ITM, she's like, I've always been the backbone. I've had to be there. And her kids echoed that too. They're like, Mom's always there. And then there was a moment where her daughter was like, you deserve this. I'm happy for you. And so I'm sure like they feel like in their hearts, they feel happy for their mom. But then there's also this part that it's like, here are all these rules we don't want. So I bet Joan, for her, she's like, she's always been there for her family. She wants to do what makes her kids happy. But simultaneously, like in her spirit, like in her heart, it's like, this is what I want. Mm-hmm. I need to do this for me. So I'm sure there was like a battle going on inside her where it's like, I know I want to do this for me. I want to find the love of my life. I want to pursue this opportunity. But then my family is feeling this way and doesn't want me to do it. So when you're feeling that and you're on screen and you're having to go through the stress that's already the show, you're going to feel this like push and pull of even I think a more extreme version of, we see contestants like on The Bachelor, Bachelorette, who we find out later, their family is very against them doing it. But it's a very different feeling, I would imagine, to have your parents be like, we don't want you to do this. You're going to make us look bad or blah, 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 versus your child being like, I don't want you to do this. Because it's way more intense.
It's way more intense, but it's also, if I'm being honest, weirder because it's like you're used to your parents having an opinion about how you should live, and because they were the ones that raised you, and so then you can disagree with like how you continue the process. And that's very normal. You kind of rebel against your parents. You have disagreements about your parents, and you leave. Very rare in that way to have it go the opposite way, where like the kids are trying to control the parents' behavior and how they do their thing.
Yeah.
The son said something very strange to me.
Okay.
He was talking in an ITM and going, my mom is doing this, and Chock needs to realize that my mom has a lot on her plate. She has 4 kids that she needs to give her all to. And I'm going, you're not 5. Like, you're like 30 something. Like, I've never once thought about my parents' decisions and go, you got to make sure you give it all to your grown kids. Yeah. So what that said to me was that they are used to being a little bit on beck and call for them.
Well, it sounds
for whatever they need.
It sounds like, Mom, like she said, she's always there. And she holds the family together. And he said, we've never been closer than actually in the past few years because Mom created this. It sounds like she's an incredible mom.
Yes, but what I'm getting is like, there's a difference between like closeness and like my mom does my laundry still energy a little bit. And I'm just saying it kind of sounded like that to me because him saying like, she has a lot on her plate, and that a lot on her plate is me and my brothers and me and my sister. It's like just a weird thing to say in your like 30s about your mom. So for me, it almost hit me like this represents her leaving them having access to her as much energy, and the fact that they had rules for her. It just sounds like they were nervous about how she'd look. And how they didn't want to have like a bad image. I don't know. It's very strange. I'm not trying to judge, but I'm just going, it's weird vibes.
I want to be sensitive. I want to be sensitive though to the fact that like there is a lot of grief involved in this, Evan. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we don't know what that's like, and we don't know what it's like to have lost a parent and then see your other parent, seeing somebody else, and then on top of it, national television. So I do want to be sensitive to that grief, and then also the part of like, hey, she has her kids here, because now there's a unit that's solidified when grief, when loss happens, where you're like, no, we have each other's backs. And so I don't want to be insensitive to that because I don't know what that's like. But, and again, sorry, hot take. I don't know if other people were feeling this way too. After hearing that there's rules and then seeing them in the space with her, I felt like she came in super excited, and to BH, it wasn't warm in there. You know what I mean?
It was not warm at all.
It wasn't warm. And
very little smiles to none.
And they were saying, Mom, we're proud of you. You deserve this.
The words weren't matching the facial expressions.
Right. And she seemed a little surprised by them saying that.
Which part of me feels like they made a decision to go on TV and not be like problematic, but they couldn't hide their face.
Yeah.
So it sounded like Mom's doing this. Let's not be like a family that's like rejecting her or going off or whatever. So let's just say, Chock, it was a really nice meeting. You seem like a great guy. Mom, you deserve love. All right. But like, they're not people that are good at like selling the face. Yeah. So, cause like none of them were smiling or happy. Like she's like, yeah, there was 30 guys to start with. And then daughter goes, wow. And then the son was just kind of like, blank face the entire time.
He did not crack a smile, man. And even also, he looked like a pastor from Hillsong, by the way.
100%. He had pastor vibes all day.
He was giving sexy pastor.
Sexy pastor energy all day. I wonder if that's a part of the like image thing. But maybe he's trying to become the lead pastor of some big church. But you know what I mean? Like that was the energy, was like they were like, because they were kind of polished once they started talking. It was all very like, Mom, you deserve love, and we wish you the best. Yep. And Chock seems very like a great guy.
Corporate.
And we wish you the best, and we will see you later. Goodbye.
Yeah.
There was no warmth about the process at all. Mm-hmm. So I felt like they almost went real political with it. Let's just play nice, say the classic, we wish you the best energy, and then get out of there. Yeah. But there was no tears of like even reuniting. Like, oh my God, it's been a month.
Some people are emotional versus other people are not. But after hearing the rules that were laid upon, and I'm a little bit like, hey guys, like, again, I don't know what it's like to be in the space of grief, but like what I do know is just like you, and you're an adult, And as a person, you have autonomy and deserve respect and that autonomy. So does your mom.
Yeah.
And your mom should have feel the ability and not the pressure that she can go on and she can kiss however many people she wants.
Yeah.
Sure. As a kid, it's got to be, weird to be seeing that. And it's got to be a struggle. But like at the same time, you're going to want what's best for your mom. And if what's best for her is for her, like sowing the wild oats and, making out with everybody, or if what's best for her is the fantasy suites, then you got to let her be her, And I wonder if it made the process a lot harder for her.
Yeah.
I think now seeing it all come together, now recalling these rules they had for her, I'm like, I feel like maybe Joan would have felt a little more free if she would have been able to go on this show and feel like, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. Like hearkening back to GGT, for instance, when GGT is like having the sex talk with JP and is just kind of like, well, it's important to be intimate, so then there's a kind of a freedom of like, yeah, I'm going to make out with whoever I want to make out with. I'm going to, and his daughters were like, yeah, Dad, it's a little awkward, but we love you. There was a freedom then for him there to be able to.
Okay. Real quick. I feel like it has to do with image. And here's why. If you just wanted to not have sex, you would say it in the fantasy suites. I mean, the fantasy suites are big rooms.
Yeah.
Where you just go in. Yeah. And when you go in together, you sit there and you go, hey, by the way, I'm not sleeping with anybody.
Yeah.
Once the cameras are off, I'm not sleeping with anybody, but like, I'm down to hang out with you. I'm down to kiss. I'm down to talk. But I just want to let you know I'm not going to sleep with anybody. Uh-huh. But the declaration to like remove bed, not have sex.
Yeah.
For the world to hear.
But that's probably for her kids.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
It's for her kids. She's trying to respect what her kids wanted.
The kids clearly had an image thing almost. And they're like, we don't want anyone thinking that you had sex with anybody. So you have to say it at the front and make this kind of big declaration as opposed to just in the fantasy suite. Let's be real. Many people have probably done fantasy sweeps and slept with one of them, two of them,
none.
all of them, zero of them.
Yeah, it all varies.
Everyone probably had different experiences. But the declaration feels like an image-based thing from the kids. Just throwing it out there.
Yeah, you could be right.
Like removing a bed, like, you know what I mean? That's all very like over the top. It's kind of giving like Christian upbringing a little bit, like removing the bed from your room. Sure. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Just throwing it out there.
We're really coming for these kids.
I mean,
sorry, guys.
You're on national TV.
I mean, I don't know, not trying to be an asshole here, but it's what I picked up on. I couldn't help it. And again, it helped me kind of, I feel like, put two and two together with what felt like from Joan. I couldn't quite read. Is she reserved? Is it all like trying to read in between the lines? And now knowing that as a mother.
Yeah.
If my daughter would say this to me,
you're like, whoa,
but then I know that I want to go do something, I'd be fully in my head the 100%. Entire time because I'm like, I want to make sure my daughter's feelings are taken care of and that she doesn't feel. But I also know that like I'm my own person. I need to do what I need to do. I'd be stress case. I'd be a stress
going on
case.
a date with your parents in the corner watching you with ear. It's like when you're 16, you're on a date and then your parents have a microphone connected to hearing your table. And you're like, anyway, I had a beautiful evening with you this evening. Did you enjoy the steak? It's like you can't let loose.
Totally. Dang. Okay, well, let's get into when Chock met the kids. But first, we got to take another quick pause. Family. Oh my gosh. Family. Blessings. The weather is getting colder. Oh, I'm so happy, which means my favorite things are in store. Hot chocolate, reading by the fire, and my fave fashions, like being cozy in sweaters, more specifically, my gorgeous sweaters from Quince. Okay, family, Quince is unreal. You know this if you have checked out their website, okay? They have the most luxurious, high-quality, chic clothing, and the price, all Quince items are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. Yes, 50 to 80%. Prices like their famed Mongolian cashmere sweaters from $50. Can we think of a better gift idea for the upcoming holidays? No. Will I likely be buying myself items from Quince this holiday season instead of gifting them to others? Yes, but I'll try to use the love in my heart to buy for myself from Quince and also for the people I love, okay?
Yeah, and by the way, these prices Jess was talking about includes the beautiful leather jackets, cotton cardigans, soft denim, and so much more for real. If you go on their website, you'll be wowed. How are they able to do that? By partnering directly with top factories and cutting out the cost of the middleman, which passes the savings on to us. And Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices. And of course, premium fabrics and finishes for that luxury feel in every piece.
Like I said, their sweaters, they give me life. Their cashmere sweaters are everything. But I also am a huge sucker for their European linen pants. They elevate every single outfit when I put them on. I'm obsessed with the cut and they're so comfortable. But by the way, the variety of the collections that they have on their website are vast. I'm talking for women, men, kids, home, travel, shoes, jewelry. So much. Okay, so check it out. I'm telling you, their website, especially this time of year when gift shopping is in full swing, is a 10. You got to check out their website. Get cozy in Quince's high quality wardrobe essentials. Go to quince.com/momdad for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/momdad to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/momdad. Okay, so on to Chock officially meeting some of Joan's children. Now, Chock made a move that had me,
oh my God.
me want to move.
Because that room was icy too, and I can't believe he did it.
The room was tight, okay? Like we said, not like the warmest room ever. And they came in and Chock was like, Chock always has a plan, by the way. Chock is a strategic, and I don't mean this in a negative way. The way his brain works clearly is like we've talked about this. He always comes in when he sits down with Joan with a plan of what he's going to tell her, questions he's going to ask. You can tell he's very like, he plans ahead of time. He's an organized guy. And the way he came in and he goes, before we, keep talking, I'm going to do something right now that I did when my family first met Joan. I'm going to kiss her. And he leans in and kisses her. And the kids are like, the son's eye literally twitches. He goes, I'm going to kiss her because I wanted my whole family to know the first thing that they saw is that I care about this woman. Yeah. Okay. And so I'm going to do that right now. And I was like, damn, a bold move. A bold move. He just went and he goes, I'm going straight for the kiss. And like you had said, Nick, the son, makes the comment about, mom has 4 kids she needs to give her all to, and that Chock has big shoes to fill. Yeah. And that's when I was feeling the energy of the love that these kids have for their dad. And so, of course, there's going to be this feeling there of like, hey, and even in the conversation then...
I thought that was strange that he said that. Not strange, but I thought, when he said, you're going to replace my dad, I thought like that was... Is that how you think this is? Like, because even Chock was like, dude, just so you know, that is not at all what's going to happen.
So Nick said, I have extremely high expectations on who will replace my dad. And Chock right away said, I'm not here to replace your dad. I'm here to make your mom happy. Mm-hmm. So I think there's also this thing in like the kids' minds where it's like, who's gonna be like new dad? And Chock's like, I felt like the way Chock handled it was fantastic. The way that he's like, I'm not here. Yeah. Like, I'm not, and especially because Chock feels this because he's gone through grief like this, where he's like, I'm not here to replace your dad. My job is simply to make sure that your mom's happy. Like, that's what I'm going to do.
You know what? The one thing you can say about Chock, dude is well spoken.
He really is.
He never fumbles, says a weird thing. He never says stuff like, I don't know how to put my words into feelings, which is like every guy on the show ever. You know what I mean? Like, he knows how to say exactly how he's feeling. He's very eloquent. He's very good at communicating. He's very romantic.
Yeah, like he really is.
He puts it out there hard. There's gestures involved. Like the dude is, I will say, maybe the most ready for this show of anyone we've ever seen.
Yeah, and we found out too during this that he didn't sign up for the show. His daughter signed him up for it, and she was like, it's going to be Joan, and I think that's your person. Like, so daughter knew it was going to be Joan, and she was like, this is the right...
daughter should be a matchmaker because
I know, because
it's like
they seem like an incredible fit. But even through this, like Chock's talking about not being able to express his feelings, and that's something that we had talked about at the beginning where I'm like, okay, let's see how this looks. He sits down with the kids. First thing, he starts crying. Yeah. He immediately talking about Joan starts crying.
It's crazy.
And like you said, the eloquence too, even when they had the after the final rose,
Yes.
Chock you could tell he was very nervous.
Very nervous.
But even
still
through that,
everyone always kind of fumbles on the live.
No. He was like
dang,
perfect,
dang, dang.
perfect.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Very like, CEO of a company.
Knows how to speak to large groups of people.
Definitely has like big conferences that he speaks at.
Yeah, because
energy.
it was like when he was talking to Jesse, it was very like, Jesse, it was fantastic meeting you, sir. I will talk to you, at the next boardroom. This is very, very good at talking.
But Nick, and we don't see a lot of her daughter, but Nick then sits down with Joan, and that's when we hear that Joan is like, I was scared that my kids would be upset at me for moving on.
Yeah.
And then when Nick's like, hey, we're proud of you, she's like, I did not know that.
Yes.
And so there's definitely, there's that energy going on.
Yeah.
And so you're just...
Yeah, ruminating about it.
I was ruminating about it. But he says that Chock is the best that he could hope for.
Yeah.
He seems to give full stamp of approval. Again, we don't really see daughter during this, but at least son is like, this is the right guy for my mom. I give full stamp of approval. They seemed very pleased with him. And to connect the dots to then her guy situation, which we'll talk about in a little bit, I believe that there was definitely kid influence on the fact that she didn't even have the sit down with Guy. Like, I think she didn't want to hurt Guy, but my guess is after her time with Chock and then her alone time with Chock, and then he's like, I'm in love with you, but then hearing specifically her kids being like, we like Chock, he's the right guy for you. I bet they also were having a say in the conversation of like, why are we even meeting this other guy?
Yeah, sure.
I just from what we can tell, like I would imagine that, like I said, I'm sure she also didn't want to. I imagine that she didn't want to hurt this guy either, and have to string it along if she knew that it was going to be Chock. And in interviews, like my mom had mentioned on Off the Vine with Caitlin Bristow, she's like, Chock was my guy from the beginning.
I also think that Guy was third.
Oh, 100%.
Right? So then Pascal lives and she's like, well, okay, I was going to get rid of him anyways.
100%.
A little bit of that.
Yeah, I don't think Guy ever really stood a chance with her, which was talk about a heartbreak. We'll talk about it because we still got to talk about Joan and Chock's alone time together.
Yeah.
But, oof. No, I agree. I think that Guy was third.
Yeah.
At least it seems that way.
Big time.
But I do believe that the kids, from what we've seen, maybe had a hand in them not meeting Guy.
Sure.
It was like, hey,
she's like, he was already third, but like that locked in.
I can see the kids being like, do we really have to sit down and meet now this other guy?
Yeah,
like this is hard for us. We don't want to have to meet another guy.
Right.
We really liked Chock.
Yeah.
Are you sure that this other guy's the guy? It's like, no, I think Chock's my guy. Then Chock's your guy.
Yeah. Agreed.
I get this energy. But then Chock and Joan have their final date night together. And this is the moment that I screamed at the TV because I finally figured out who Chock reminds me of. This whole time I'd been like, who does Chock remind me of? He looks like somebody. He kind of sounds like somebody to me. His mannerisms kind of remind me of somebody. Tom Hanks. Everybody. Tom Hanks. I was freaking out because it's been bugging me the entire time.
In Polar Express.
Polar Express, as the people have said.
Yeah.
But this whole time.
No, one guy
one
asshole.
Said you were
it haunts me for the rest of my life.
The old cartoon from Tom Hanks and Polar Express. But this whole time, I'm like, why does Chock feel familiar to me? There's something about Chock that feels comforting and familiar.
Yes.
It's because in my brain, he's Tom Hanks.
Okay. Very comforting and familiar character.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's something about his energy, and he looks like an older Tom Hanks.
He does.
I'm just saying.
You're just saying.
But they're having all, the lovey-dovey conversation, and then he's like, I have a gift for you. And there's a card first that mentions the fact that they've been talking about wanting to go to New York City together.
Yeah.
And then he hands her this gift, and it's a keychain that has a heart on it. And I felt like right away you could tell she was like, oh, thank you. It's like, this is the final gesture is like a heart keychain. Yeah. Like this is the thing. But then he said, hey, there were some keys on it. And he said, hey, this is a symbol of the fact that I want to get a place together in New York City. And I want us to pick it out together. You and me, we're going to go to New York and we're going to pick out this place. And I was like, nice work, Chock.
Well, what he did was
that's a lock-in too.
He touched on the Pascal energy.
He did. He gave that Pascal. Like, we're going to travel the world together.
We're going to go to New York City, the big city. You're from the small town, whatever. We are going to live. We're not going to die together. We're going to live together energy. And I felt like that's what Pascal brought.
Yes.
And so him doing that, I don't know if they talked about it. I don't know if he was talking to Pascal and seeing, I could see that talking to Pascal going, what is it about you that she's...
he's a strategic guy.
Yeah, what is it about you that she's really glued to? And it's like, oh, fast-paced, fun, exciting. It's like, you know what's exciting is having a place in New York.
Here's my promise.
Here's my promise to keep life exciting.
That not only we're going to keep life exciting together, but also here's a promise of plans together. Like, how exciting is it?
I was ready for Chock to actually slip into like a French accent for a second there. And he's like, I'm excited for you to meet my children. You know what I mean? And
she's like, I've already met him.
She's like, whoa. The perfect hybrid.
But also the promise too of future plans together that are together. Not like I have a place in New York. We'll go there together. Like, here's my promise of future fun together. Because
so you can go back to your friends and go, I'm gonna go visit. I'm gonna go to my place.
What's more romantic than going together and picking out an apartment in New York City?
What's more romantic than going to New York? It's saying I have a place in New York.
Yeah, but of course, I mean? Like, just be like, we have a place together.
It sits empty while I'm not there.
And I'm also like, damn, cash.
There's some money there too.
That's some money there.
Proof of funds.
If that's an option, just like having a place that you own in New York City. I mean, like,
just visit.
Come on now, get out of here. But all I could think about this whole time was all the kids.
Yes,
because it's like, her family lives in Maryland. His family lives in Kansas. They're not talking about, hey, let's, get a new place together somewhere in Maryland or Kansas.
Yeah.
We're going to move to New York together. And I'm like, I don't know if the kids are going to be happy if they hear that. Because kids are like, Chock's not moving to Maryland.
Yeah. In fact, a full-time babysitter.
In fact, instead, they're moving to New York together.
Interesting.
I don't know if the kids are going to love. I don't know if they're going to love. But I was so excited for her to hear that.
That was exciting.
I'm like, you're in your 60s and you've done so much and there's been so much tragedy and you've sacrificed so much. It's like, get that apartment in New York City.
Sick.
And just soak it up with your lover.
Yes.
Oh. Incredible. Incredible. Also, I noticed, I'm like, I don't know if Chock, speaking of this New York apartment, I don't know if it's a Rolex he's rocking, but
kind of looked like it.
Looks like a Rolex.
Looks like a Rolex.
So, I think Chock's got cash, is all I'm saying.
Chock's got it.
Chock's got it. Now, during this, he tells her that he loves her. He's like, I gotta let you know, I love you.
Yeah.
She does not say it back. He continues to say, I love you. I love you. She just smiles. Doesn't say it back. And then
that's when the anxiety starts to
And then the anxiety starts to heighten, because then he's like, he takes a deep breath and he goes, hey, I know I keep saying it, but I'm a closed off guy, so it feels good to get it out. I do love you, Joan.
Say the words with me. I love you too, Chock.
And when he says, I can be closed off, then she speaks and she goes, me too.
Yeah, he's like,
and
duh.
Doesn't say I love you back.
He's like, you don't need to repeat that. It's very obvious.
This man is trying everything he's got in his arsenal to be like, say it back to me.
Say it. Give me something. Because he even said to her, he's like, are we good?
Are we good?
Are we good? Or is this like, where am I at? Am I crazy?
And my God, not even a flicker. It wasn't even
she
like,
just goes, cool.
It wasn't even like he said, I love you. And she ran in for a kiss or melted and goes, oh, this means everything to me.
I'm falling in love.
She just kind of smiled and goes, yes.
That means so much, which is the classic response.
And I'm like, Chock has to be spiraling at this point.
He
if I was Chock,
I saw him
my mind.
open his mouth and then close his mouth in like I almost broke. And I almost said like, what do you want me to do here? I'm feeling lost. But he stayed strong.
He stayed strong. He really did. He really did. It was very impressive because she was not budging.
No.
Like she was not going to say it.
Not at all.
And I'm so curious to get in her head to be like, did you not want to say it until you were actually at the final rose ceremony? Did you not feel it? Were you processing? Because I can see that too, being like, I'm processing what he's saying and taking it in, and then I feel like I can say it later. Did Guy have a chance at this point? Was she still thinking about Pascal? I have so many questions that I couldn't quite get a grasp on. Was she thinking about her kids the entire time, going, well, I haven't quite talked with them about Chock yet, so do I not want to say I love you yet because I haven't touched base with my kids?
Yeah.
I have a lot of questions.
Interesting.
But he didn't break. But he then has a lot of questions. He's in ITMs going, what am I supposed to do in this situation? Does she love Guy? Has she told him that she loves him? It was a little stressful.
Stressful.
It was a little stressful.
Very stressful.
But more so, what was stressful and rough was the Guy.
Yes.
Date.
The guy
in quotations. Which we will talk about. We got to take one more quick pause, family. So, fam, this message is sponsored by Greenlight. As your kids get older, some things about parenting get easier. For example, if I was on The Bachelor at Hometowns, for instance, I could explain to Ember that while she's on camera, it wouldn't be a great idea to bring up Mom's the room that's stuffed with trash, and she would totally get it. You know, she would have my back. I'd be able to tell her this. It'd be easier. She'd understand. She'd have my back in this. But here's the thing. Some things get easier, but other things do not get easier, like having that conversation about money. The fact is, kids won't really know how to manage their money until they're actually in charge of it. That's where Greenlight can help. Greenlight is amazing. It is a debit card and money app made for families. Parents can send money to their kids and keep an eye on kids' spending and saving while kids and teens build money confidence and lifelong financial literacy skills.
Yeah, with the Greenlight app, kids learn to save, invest, and spend wisely thanks to games that teach money skills in a fun, accessible way. I know that's huge. Games with the kiddos. It's huge.
Yeah,
it's
Ember
really
loves
amazing.
the games.
She loves them. She loves them.
The games.
It's really amazing how Ember is already starting to get a grasp on financial literacy since we started using Greenlight, and she loves the games, like we said. The Greenlight app also includes a chores feature where you can set up a one-time or reoccurring chores customized to your family's needs and rewards kids with allowance for a job well done.
Yes, and it also has created just great conversations and understanding about financial independence. I've shared this before, but I really struggle with financial literacy even now because it's just not something I learned about growing up. I wish so much that I had Greenlight at the time, but I'm so grateful that we have it now so that Ember's a step ahead of mama. You know what I mean? She's a step ahead, and I love that. Millions of parents and kids are learning about money on Greenlight. It's the easy, convenient way for parents to raise financially smart kids and families to navigate life together. Sign up for Greenlight today at greenlight.com/momdad. That's greenlight.com/momdad to try Greenlight today. greenlight.com/momdad. All right, on to Guy.
Yeesh.
The day he's supposed to meet Joan's family. Talk about a foreboding, ominous thing. They have a torrential downpour.
Yes.
He wakes up.
Although usually water, I mean, isn't rain kind of good luck? That's on a wedding.
It's on a wedding. This feels very like we're about to experience some sort of just upsetting. And we see him later, like Notebook style in the rain, sobbing as his tears mingle with the water from the gods in the heavens streaming across his face. He's becoming one with the tears of the gods.
Wow.
Okay.
You read a lot of fantasy books right now, guys. It's like out of nowhere with the crazy gods of tears comparison. Like nothing about this says gods and tears and you're like, and the dragons raining fire down with the tears of Satan battling gods. Everyone's like, you mean like he just was sad, or and lovers intertwined in forbidden lust.
By the way,
yeah. Oh yeah.
my new goal, and I have to start like seeing if I can audition for this. I have to build a portfolio.
Yeah.
My new goal is to
be voiceover for your books.
An audiobook narrator for those types of books.
Well, I feel like
does anybody have an in?
We feel like we do.
What?
Kevin, his old job was that.
Oh, our old friend.
Yeah. He doesn't work there anymore, but I could definitely hit him up and be like, is that a thing?
Okay. Well, family, if you are aware.
If you know any fantasy voiceovers.
Of like any, I really, really want to start doing this. Like and I'm down. I mean, I will read.
Get on your knees.
I will read. You would be good for it too, Evan. You've got a good, deep, rumbly voice.
Enough, mortal. You are now mine to do with as I please.
You have to say good. You have to say good girl.
Good girl. God. Okay. Oh my gosh.
But I really want to get into it, everybody. I'll read the smuttiest books ever. Like I really am so down. Like have me read your smuttiest books. I won't even blush. Like I will give it my everything. Okay?
I love it.
Please, somebody help me with this. It's my new life goal. Okay, back to Guy. So he says he's fallen in love and he didn't think that he'd be able to find this true love at his age. And he said not even that. The type of love that's like passionate, like you're young. And I'm like, okay, so not only is Guy feeling like I'm in love with Joan, he's feeling the passionate sort of love, like butterflies in your stomach, first date type of chemistry. Okay. Now we then see Joan.
Yeah.
She's tripping after this date with Chock. She's like on her way to Guy, tripping out. She's like, here's the bottom line. I've actually fallen in love. She says it so casually, or the way that they had her do it. I bet in ITMs she was like, everybody, I'm in love with Chock. Yeah. But the way that they did this like voiceover, she's just casually walking to guys and she's like, well, I figured out I'm in love with Chock. So I got to go end this with Guy. And it was so nonchalant that I was like,
but that's Joan fashion. Like we were always just kind of like, does she even love anyone? And she's like, yes, I'm getting engaged tomorrow. And you're like, whoa, okay.
Just like, that was so nonchalant and said...
Like 10 hours before, she's crying about how she'll never be loved. And now she's breaking up with Guy saying my heart belongs to someone else. Yeah. It's like, I cannot read you.
It was said so nonchalantly that even the audience, it took him a beat and then everybody kind of went, yay. Because it was like, it wasn't this like big declaration, which I blame on editing too. Yeah. Like they could have had her do a voiceover or an ITM where they were like, okay, tell us, say it with your heart and be like, I figured out I am in love with Chock. Yeah. But it was said, I don't know, it was so random to me that the way that they had it happen so nonchalantly in this moment where she's walking through the rain. Like that's when we have the realization. But it was, okay, so when my mom was on this last episode for Men Tell All, my mom was like, I feel bad and I feel worried for Guy because I think he really likes her. And I'm like, Guy's going to be fine. He's going to have tons of women sliding his DMs. Now I feel bad because he was so happy to see her. And when she sits him down and she's like, here's the thing. My biggest hope and fear was that I would have a strong connection and feelings for one person and that I'd have to send someone home. She looks at him, she goes, my heart belongs to someone else. The level to which Guy starts crying, I couldn't have been prepared for. Yeah. His eyes are closed and it is like...
No, it's real deal.
It is like sobbing grief. Like he is heartbroken. I felt so bad. The nonchalantly being like, he's going to be fine. I'm like, oh.
Well, he said he was shocked. I mean, I think he legitimately thought like it's done deal. Like,
well, he said during After the Final Rose, he was like, I knew it was me. Mm-hmm. And so he's like rattled. And she said some really sweet things the way that she was just like, hey, I just want you to know you've always been seen. Like I've seen you in every rose ceremony. And I didn't want you to have to go through meeting my family, going to the final rose ceremony, starting to propose, then have her cut him off. Yeah. And I always like that for a lead. I think that's a very gracious thing if they are given that opportunity by production. I know sometimes production does not allow for that opportunity. Yeah. But if they are given that opportunity and they take it to just kind of end it when they're alone, they're in a more relaxed setting. Mm-hmm. So I was happy that she was able to end it with him there instead of dragging it out when she knew already. But I mean, the man is bawling to the point that then he starts like, he's scrambling. He's like, there's no changing your mind. Are you sure there's nothing that could change your mind? She's like, I love you, but I love you in a different way.
Yeah.
She Pascal'd him.
She Pascal'd him for sure.
And then he keeps pushing. And at one point, I'm like, my heart is broken. And then there hit a point to where I was like, okay, guy, we got to just, I know you're like, oh, you're so heartbroken, but like, she said no. Yeah. And then he keeps going. He's like, I was going to tell your kids I was in love with you and I was going to propose.
It's almost like he in his mind thought, oh, because I hadn't said it earlier, that's why she's breaking up with me.
Like if he could get her.
He wasn't sure if it was because of Chock or if it was more like, I just took it a little longer.
Because then he's whispering in her ear. He's like, I know we would have been happy together. And I'm like, she's done.
Yeah.
She's done. And she leaves him. It is pouring outside. Like I said, he is in the sopping rain, sobbing into the sea. And I got to tell you, when she left, she gets her umbrella and she walks and she did not turn around.
No.
She never took a look back. And
not
I was
a tear
like,
shed, not an emotional moment. He was like, I love you. And she's like, thank you very much for that. That is very sweet of you.
She was done. Like she did not turn around. I was like, damn, if I would have been Guy, that would have really messed me up. Which to me echoes what you said is that he was always third.
Yes.
Like she grieved so much more during the Pascal thing. And I know that she said it was because she felt unlovable. We were saying insecure about it. But I think even when Pascal ended it with her, the way that she was rattled simply because it was him, you could just tell with Guy, it was like, and we said it from the get-to, we never got the chemistry. It was like their conversation is stiff.
Yeah.
They're kissing. It's tight. I don't see her with him. But yeah, walked away, didn't turn around.
No.
Did not turn
just
around.
Bye.
It's like, I'm going to go see Chock.
He's like hung over the balcony. She's just like, see ya.
He's like dry heaving into the sea.
I almost saw her like skip.
Yeah, it was like, she was done. She made up her mind.
She was zero connected to him at the end there.
And I think she just is also a very decisive person too, where it's like, when I'm done, I'm done.
Yeah.
Like the switch is turned off and you and I are no longer together. He was left in the
wasteland there.
Well, we then have the hot seat live with Guy. And, you know, he kept saying his big thing, which I noticed, which was interesting to me. He kept saying during the top with Jesse, and then once Joan was there even, he kept saying, I just want everybody to know that what I was feeling was sincere. Which I thought was an interesting, like, I didn't feel like anybody, I mean, at least I didn't ever look at him and go, that felt insincere. Like he was putting on something.
No, I felt super honest the whole time.
Which when someone keeps saying, when someone keeps saying
I'm a good guy, I'm a good guy, you're like, what are you hiding?
That threw me off a little bit. I was like, why is that what we're focusing on? It makes me almost then question the sincerity, which it didn't.
Maybe he's been accused of that in the past.
Maybe, but it looks very sincere to him. To me, I didn't think anything of it until he kept saying, you know, what I
just
felt.
So you know, I wasn't lying to you. You're like, what?
Wait, what?
Why would you be lying?
I don't think anybody was questioning that. But you know, he was saying too, he was very gracious through it though.
Yeah.
He was like, you know, I got a lot out of this and knowing that I could feel true love again. And I know I'm going to find it again.
Yeah.
I know I'm going to get it. And this was just his window that he needed to know that like, that was this, it's an option. You can be any age.
Yeah.
You can be a day before you're about to leave this earth and you can find true love, you know, regardless of past and all these things. And, then Joan comes out. And this was another moment where I was like, I think when Joan's done, Joan's done. Because she came out, she hadn't seen Guy in forever. And I noted, typically during this portion, when you see your like final guy who you send home, they kind of walk straight to the guy and there either is tension and they're not good, or they walk straight to the guy and there's hugs and whatever.
Right.
She came out and she was waving to the crowd the whole time, blowing kisses, and didn't connect with Guy until right before. And I was like, I don't think Joan's done. Joan's happy with Chock. Joan is like, I don't want to sit here and be doing the back and forth with Guy, because even at one point, you know, she's like, I hope we can be friends and maybe we can double date soon. Yeah. And Guy's like, no.
Yeah, it's like, I'm a friend. I'm just a friend. Like, you know when your love of your life says we can double date soon? That's like saying, by the way, I have zero interest in you, so like we could just be buds. You come over anytime. Girls' night. He's like, what? That's the worst thing you could say to someone. It's like, let's go on a double date. That means I have nothing in your heart.
Yeah.
Right? Because if there was something left over, there's like, I don't want to be near you. You might tempt me. It's like, no.
We're done.
Buddy.
Well, he did ask the question, was there something missing? And I do have to say, as a viewer, as a human, I understand always wanting the need to need closure. You're like, what happened? I'm watching our love story on screen. I'm confused and I want to know.
I didn't love her answer.
Well,
because it confused me.
Yes, but also I just wanted to say, if you're ever on this show, unless the lead is like giving villain vibes a little bit, and then you want to be like, what happened?
Yes.
I don't know if I'd ever say anything.
Yeah.
I would just kind of be like, super happy for you, as much as it'd be killing me to not be like, what the heck happened?
Yeah.
I would just kind of want to be like, let's just let it be.
Yeah.
Because it always opens up then a potentially like awkward thing, which I think it did.
Yeah.
Because what you were saying, her answer confused me as well. She was like, no, nothing was missing. It was just that it came down to a time thing. Getting there with you came down to a time thing. We heard from him that he was a slow burn, but she was like, it was a time. And then she said, in any other situation, I'd be with you. But this was a time situation and I was farther along with someone else. And I was like,
yeah.
That confused me because I wasn't getting that from her. I wasn't getting that like, oh, guy was her guy.
Right.
It was Pascal or it was Chock.
Mm-hmm.
But the time thing was confusing.
It's like, wait, just time?
If I was the person she chose in the end, I'd be a little bit like, really?
It's like you actually are the guy. It's just like you were a week too early. It's like, what?
If I was Chock, I'd be like,
okay,
it was just that I was more intense about my declaration of love to you.
She did, when she said I had to make a decision.
Yeah.
Kind of just made it feel like Chock said it a lot quicker.
Yeah. That confused me a little bit.
Right?
It confused me a little bit.
I had to make a decision. Like almost like I'm on a game show and I had to make a decision and I didn't have enough hints.
And then she was like, it's been hard for me to be away from you. So I was feeling very conflicted because
Maybe
I'm
she
like,
was just nervous and just trying to say stuff. And then now he's got hope.
Because on one hand, what we were saying before is it's fully girls' night, like double date.
Yeah.
You're not for me. I walked away and never turned around after I said goodbye to you. But then on the other hand, you're just saying it was a time thing. Yeah. And I'm like, what?
So maybe she just didn't know what to say.
Maybe. I mean, it is a very awkward question when someone asks you what was missing. And what was missing is that like, you just didn't have
Your
the
face.
thing.
Oh, yeah.
But it was like, you
right. No, just, we didn't have the thing.
We didn't have that spark.
Didn't have the spark.
We didn't have that same chemistry. It is a hard, that's why I was saying before.
Or maybe you did. I just like the other guy more.
That's why I was saying before, as much as it would kill me to not get closure, I would never ask that on national television because I'm like, I'm never going to like the answer. It doesn't matter
anyways.
They're with them. And it just basically was just like, I don't know, you just didn't do it for me as much as the other person did.
Which is like, brutal. And I'm like opening the wound again.
That's what I mean. Yeah. So, but anywho, they wrapped and they were very, very sweet with each other, very cordial, though I left feeling somewhat confused as to what the dynamic was going down. But then we have the final day and the proposal. I was so happy that they didn't do the proposal on the cruise ship. I would have freaked out if I'd be like, you're in Bora Bora and you do the proposal on the cruise ship. I would have lost my mind. It's a beautiful setting. And she woke up and it was very sweet. She was like, I woke up this morning. I didn't feel sad. Like my future feels bright. And he's on edge though, because he's like, I'm at risk for getting my heart ripped out at this point because I'm not sure where she stands. But when he gets in front of her in Chock fashion, he has a perfect speech prepared. He is fully prepared. And he said something that hit me, it touched me so much when he said, every day I will honor John by loving you. It was so sweet that then he included Kathy and John in his proposal to her and was like, I'm going to honor him every single day.
Right.
And I can't imagine how much that means to her with everything she's been processing. Through this though, so windy. The wind is ripping. I'm imagining that she probably has some clip-in extensions in, and I was just feeling stressed for her, some fake eyelashes on some clip-in extensions, and I'm just sitting here like, if I'm her, I'm thinking the whole time about like something's gonna blow away. Like I can't be fully present in the moment because I'm thinking about like all of that. But then he tells her that he loves her like 100 times in a row again during this proposal essentially, and I was just laughing, thinking like, how funny would it be if she would have never said it back? Like if he proposes. Yeah, he never. She's just, I'm still not ready. She says yes. And he gets down on one knee. She has the ring. They're at after the final rose, and she still hasn't said I
She's like,
love
thank you very much. But he was so elegant. I mean, the way he was saying, I want to honor him by loving you every day. And, you know, I will say, I just keep getting blown away by his ability to communicate like the way he feels.
He should be a
in like a
speechwriter.
very beautiful way. Like he made that ceremony like beautiful.
He really did.
With things he said. So
he really did. But then she in turn did as well.
Yeah.
When it finally is her turn to speak, she does tell him that she loves him, and she's like, I've been waiting to say this to you.
Yeah.
And she has a beautiful speech that she delivers to him in return. And she tells him she loves him. He proposes. He's like, I've been waiting forever to do this. And I'm like, well, 6 weeks, but it's fine. Okay. 6 weeks. She says yes. And the FaceTime with her mom is so stinking cute. Yeah. It's such like the whole she's like holding the thing in the wrong direction.
You're on a beach somewhere?
And then when they start playing A Dream is a Wish Your Heart Makes.
That's like a kryptonite for you.
You saw me right away.
I believe in them forever.
Well, the fact that they had their first date at Disney and they were playing that song when the fireworks were going off, and then they're playing that song, and that song already makes me cry. You turn that song on in dead silence, drop of a hat, I'm crying. Okay? I'm full tears.
Yes.
But for them, the quiet and them going off in that boat and they're playing that, I was slain. Also, during this moment, our daughter got upset at me because I don't know if you saw this, but you know how then she gives Chock the final rose, and it's a golden rose.
Yeah.
And Ember was sitting with us, and Ember goes, oh, how cool is that golden rose? She's like, if I got that golden rose when I fell in love, she's like, I think I would put that on my shelf next to in the bedroom, like right next to where I slept, so I could see it every day. It was so sweet that she said it. She goes, I put it next to my bed so I could see it every day. And I said, oh, interesting. It's all gold, right? Ember goes, yeah. I go, I'd sell it.
And she was like, she got so flabbergasted. It's like unbelievable.
She was horrified. And I was like, I'd sell it. And she was like,
I did hear that. It was like gasp.
She was like,
it was a gasp. So
and she
funny.
was, what? And I go, I'm just saying, if it's pure gold, like, love is forever, but you know, I'd sell that rose and get a little bit of cash. She was disgusted with me.
With you.
I'm obviously joking.
She was disgusted.
But her face made me laugh so hard. She was just like,
she was blown away. How
I've never disappointed her more. And then afterwards though, she was like, was it really gold? I go, no girl, it's spray painted. Like, let's be real here. Or it's just some sort of metal that's been spray painted. But then we have Joan and Chock's first appearance together in their hot seat. Like we said, he was nervous, but man, he right away comes out the gate and he is just like singing praises about her. He's like, the fact that she is so gracious and classy. He's like basically saying that he watched the show and saw how she because he was talking about how she handled all of the endings with the men and all this. And what it was refreshing to hear about Chock, because I wasn't sure if Chock was going to be the type of guy who, if he watched the show back, would be a little jealous.
Sure.
And it might be a problem. Instead, he like punctuated the fact that he saw how gracious she was with all the men.
Yeah.
And it made him fall in love with her even more. And I'm like, very lovely.
Confident dude.
He also gives us tea about the happy couple suite.
Yeah, he kind of dropped that. They were like, easy.
He was giving a lot of tea. He's like, this is what we do in the happy couple suite. He's like, we got 4 days each, which is a lot of time together, actually.
What is that, 20 days?
And I don't know if typically couples get 4 days. Like on the regular show, I don't know if they get 4. I think maybe they get like 1 or 2. I could be wrong. Okay. But to get 5 with 4 feels
maybe they
like...
really want it to work out, so they're like,
you guys are nesting together immediately. Then they show the I'm crazy about Chock, or I'm crazy about you Chock montage, which was hilarious. I didn't realize how much he said that.
Yeah.
He said it 400 times.
That was crazy.
That was so funny.
That was really funny. And I think he laughed it off. Like, yeah, good sport.
Then Jesse Palmer does a commercial for college football in the middle. I didn't know
college football needed a
press,
but like it was, they put the trophy like on the table. So crazy.
They're like in the middle of their first moment. Literally, it's 2 minutes after they've introduced them as a couple. Like, their first moment
good
together.
Luck on your life. Anyway, college football, just general. It wasn't like a team. It was just like,
he was, Joan, I know you love college football. Speaking of, I'm going to be...
There's a huge ass trophy next to me.
I'm going to be calling one of the games.
Yeah.
He threw that in there too. He's like, I'm calling one of the games. And you tune in. And I'm like, what?
So weird. It was just so weird. Didn't even say like the times. It was just like, look out for football this year. So strange.
What? And then in another ad,
yeah,
they're like, hey, we're going to gift you with something.
Yeah.
I thought they were getting an apartment in NYC.
Oh, that would have been sick. No. They have a sponsored trip to Disneyland.
The shimmer of Times Square.
Exactly.
The pulse, the beat. It's from Annie. Anyway.
Yeah, no big deal.
But I thought that, they were going to give them an apartment. Now, I will tell you what, we the other day for Ember's birthday went to Disneyland and took some of her people. And it might as well cost the same amount as an apartment. It's so expensive. So I was like, granted, they gave them something that was worth.
They didn't pay for that.
But it's ABC.
Free.
Well, yeah, it's Disney.
Yeah, it's free. It's just an ad.
But they had talked about wanting to bring all their kids there. Sure. Her grandson Boomer is thrilled, which was so cute.
And Chock was like, we're in LA filming this, and now you're sending us to Florida? Like,
yeah, can we just go to
10 minutes?
Yeah, he's a practical guy.
Yeah, he's like, dude, what do you mean? I thought you were going to give us like Disneyland passes. Now I have to fly everyone out and put everyone up in Florida for a week? Okay. Like I saw the light and as guys get confused. He's like, oh, we're going to Disneyland. Cool. It's 20 minutes from here. We'll do a quick trip.
We'll do it tomorrow.
Now it's like I got to do a whole thing to Florida. Okay. Thanks, dude.
But they made it a full ad.
Yeah.
Jesse Palmer's like, here's the hats. They wouldn't put them on.
No, they're like, and
then he's like, whether you're going on the Dumbo ride or meeting
starts describing rides. Like, does Disneyland
does it
press?
Need press? Like, does
I've never been to Disneyland in my life, and it wasn't slammed.
Please,
if anything,
please stop talking
if anything,
about
we need
it.
bad rumors about Disneyland.
Please
we need
stop talking about it.
There's been some sort of fungus outbreak there.
Because my God, like the lines are 2 hours. Least 70 minutes.
Yeah, we need less people going to Disneyland. We need horrific rumors about Disneyland.
But they're happy together, and I hope the best for them.
Yes.
And I really do think they're a good fit.
I
really
agree.
do. I could actually see them really working out in the long run. I think they're a great match, and I think they love each other very much.
We wish you the best,
congratulations. Now, before we wrap, we did get a preview because our Bachelor Grant is here. And family, I gotta tell you,
singer-songwriter Grant?
Okay. Family.
Which we didn't know? Did we know about this?
No. Family. Grant to me is all, we've talked about this during his time with Jen, all green flags.
Oh, yes.
Not only is he gorgeous, he's tall, he does well, he also is vulnerable, and never was a drama starter with the men, and he was a peacemaker, and I, as you all know, am obsessed with him. Now,
and I thought there was going to be nothing to roast him for.
We finally found his flaw, and it is the fact that he will be serenading us the entire season.
He will be launching his music career through The Bachelor.
We had original songs being sung.
They always say, are they here for the right reasons? Very little do you ask the host if they're here for the right reasons. Or not the host, but the lead.
The lead, sure.
It's always the contestants.
Yeah.
Not the lead.
Yeah.
Now, what's called into question is he here for the right reasons, or is he dropping his debut single at the altar?
What I'm wondering is, because we literally got this preview and he had his original music.
He was like singing on stage, then he was singing on the piano. I mean, there was like 5
We had
different...
his original music playing over it, and I'm like, are we going to get all Grant originals through this season? Like, will they use his music?
Right, maybe.
Now, what I will say is that he sounds like he's a good singer.
He sounds good.
And so that'll make it better if he was
singer, horrible like how we have on like Love Is Blind and shit.
Yes,
that would
if he's a good singer, then seeing him play the piano and sing to someone, you feel a little bit of butterflies. Okay, even though you know that we don't endorse a serenade,
but we can understand.
This was another one, and then also another thing we found out is he pulls out a tattoo and he's like, it's the lone wolf, and I'm like, what is happening right now? And this is just now, I don't know what the story is, because he says, he's like, I feel very alone in my family.
Sure. So maybe there's some more context.
And we need more context.
On first look,
we're like,
that is what our whole comedy is about. What me and Jess's whole thing we laugh about is those two things. So we cannot wait for this like hot 10 to have a couple embarrassing moments in our mind.
Yes, that's what we need. You know, when you need this gorgeous,
when someone's
perfect
too perfect,
guy.
you're like, I don't know, he's great. But the fact
So
that we
it
already have a couple is fantastic.
It excited me because I'm like, I am so excited for Grant's
Can't wait
season.
to learn one
but
of
I'm
his
like, are
songs
we
and
going to be able
perform it for
to
you guys?
roast Grant at all?
Yes.
No, actually, I think we will be able
The
to.
lone wolf.
And I'm very, very
Yes.
excited about this. And also, this season looks expensive.
Yeah.
And a lot of fighting, which
Wow,
we knew.
Love it.
Because again, he's a catch and a half.
Whenever we got a big old catch on our hands, we got a lot of energy.
And these women look like they are going toe to toe with each other for Grant. We also see a moment where I think it's his dad who we learned about.
Yeah.
Who had gone to rehab before and they talked to him that he's sitting with him and Grant's crying. And I'm like, oh my gosh, are they going to be like reunited? And then the end where Jesse Palmer is like, I got to call this dude. We got cameras here.
He's like, let me flip a coin, basically.
And it looks like we're literally like at the final rose ceremony and he doesn't know who to
like,
choose.
Both.
And he's to the point that Jesse Palmer's like, dude, you gotta make a call. Like, I gotta be able to call the car and tell them to hold off. He's like, I need to be able to know who to send in first. Oh, baby.
It's gonna be good. I can't wait.
I can't remember the last time that happened.
I know.
Where it was like, I don't know.
Yeah, down to the wire.
This might be the most dramatic season we've ever seen. I can't wait. I cannot wait. I was already so excited for Grant. And then after getting a little tease of the serenading and then like a who is he going to choose and the fighting, I am
awesome. I'm so excited.
I cannot wait. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be coming out. I would assume in January 2025, but I think we're still awaiting the official announcement. But anywho, family, congratulations to Chock and Joan.
Congratulations to everybody.
A successful season of the Golden Bachelorette.
Beautiful.
Thanks for being with us, fam. We love you so much. And tune in next week for our next fun episode. Remember, send in thoughts, ideas, but also send in those call homes.
Yes.
And prepare for an upcoming D&D episode as well. Because I'll be ready.
We love you.
We love you.
Have a good weekend.
Bye.
Bye.